next guest. We are running a little bit early, and I think that's okay.
Oh, yes.
We have lots of things to show today.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's here.
He's here.
Woo-hoo.
Alex, we're running a little bit early, and that's okay.
Good.
So this is Alex Zavistovich, and I think Jeannie is going to do his introduction.
Yes. So Alex Zavistovich is going to be reading The Raven for us today. It was published January 29th, 1845. He is the artistic director and co-founder of the 501c3 nonprofit National Edgar Allan Poe Theater, formerly known as Molotov Theater Group. He is a professional union actor and voiceover professional, and is the creator of the company's award-winning Poe Theater on the Air series of audio dramas, which can be heard on NPR, Amazon Music, and many other audio performances. And you may find him on his website, which is poetheater.org, O-R-G, not com, not net, org, people. And then you can also find him on Facebook under Poe Theater Us. Is that correct? US. Is
Yeah.
that set for US?
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's like, oh, is that us or is that just US? Okay. And on X, he's at Poe_theater, and it's spelled with R-E, not E-R.
The
People.
British
The
way.
British theater.
Yes.
Theater.
Pretentious way.
Yes.
So please welcome Alex to our Poe readings, and we can't wait to hear his rendition of The Raven, which everybody probably will be, who's watching, mouthing along, because we all pretty much have it. But welcome,
Absolutely.
Alex, and we love that you are supporting our kickoff for our poetry contest this year, and we hope you will join us for many more years to come.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And so we will let you take it away. You can do your little intro and talk about everything, or we'll wait till after you read The Raven, and then we'll just do a little discussion after that.
Absolutely.
Whichever you want to do.
Why don't we discuss afterwards, please?
Perfect. All right.
We'll be back.
So take it away.
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly, I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore." Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. Perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I'd said, art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door with such a name as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as of his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er. But whose violet velvet lining the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer swung by seraphims whose footfalls tinkled on the tusted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee by these angels, he hath sent thee respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter set, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aiden it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Yay! That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I do it. I read it a lot, so I've kind of figured out what I want to do with it.
Yeah. Do you have it memorized, like the whole thing?
I do have it memorized. I'm going to be reciting it actually at the Pratt Library next month for a lecture that is being done by the Morgan State University, and I'm going to keep that in. I mean, I don't want to screw that up. Yes. That would be very, very embarrassing.
Oh my goodness. So what else do you have in the works for Poe Theater?
Well, several things. First, we just got word from WYPR that in addition to the streaming that we're doing of our radio dramas, we are going to be on their part of their broadcast schedule.
Oh,
so
great.
Yeah, this will be, we'll start out sort of slow on a quarterly basis on Sunday nights from 8 to 10 as part of what they're calling their WYPR Sunday Radio Theater. And we're sharing that slot with LA Theater Works, which is a very big company out in Los Angeles that does some great work with some really well-recognized names. But yeah, that won't prevent us from also uploading podcasts on a more regular basis.
Okay, great.
So that's happening. And then on May 17th and 18th, we're going to be having our third annual Doomsday. So that's something that we started. This 24-hour nonstop marathon reading of the works of Edgar Allan Poe. This year, we're going to be doing it from the central branch of the Enoch Pratt Library. So kind of like night at a museum. After the library actually closes, they're going to lock us in there. And they also are going to make certain number of it's free to the public, but a certain number of these reservations will be made available to folks from the community, so they will also be locked in the museum at the same time, or locked in the library at the same time, and we'll do other things for them. They don't have to just sit there and listen to us read. So there's going to be
fun.
Yeah, there'll be movie screenings. There'll be some things for younger folks. Yeah, it'll be a great occasion. So that's coming up on the 17th and 18th of May.
Nice.
That sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
I love getting locked into libraries because just the smell of books, and you have people reading to you from those.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just the thought of it is just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's really spectacular too. The Central Library of Baltimore City in the Mount Vernon area. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous place, and they have a dedicated room on the second floor called the Poe Room. So I think we're probably going to be doing most of the recording from there. It's just a beautiful room. That's where we do our live recordings for the latest season of Poe Theater on the Air.
Sounds wonderful.
That does sound wonderful.
And on the YouTube chat from Holly and from our other watcher listener at the moment, Spill the Tea Party, they give you lots of love. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of our upcoming poets. That's Trisha. They both give you some love for the Raven, so that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yay. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you very much. It's kind of interesting when you read the Raven, because I think a lot of people think that it's just got to be like raw emotion 100% of the time, just like press the foot on the gas and just go. When you spend some time reading it, I mean, there's genuine humor, like when the Raven comes in, kind of struts in like he owns the place, and the narrator says as much, tell me what thy lordly name is, and there's nothing dripping with sarcasm, and so there is some genuine humor, but there are, you do have to kind of measure your approach so that by the time when he really kind of wigs out at the end, you do have some
Ab-
place to go, you know.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I was telling Jeannie that as you were reading, I was like, I love the inflection that where you changed and put that raw emotion in there, because I've heard some readings of it where there's not, and it's like that point, like especially the line with falling fast and falling faster. It's like you have to pick up and then put that emotion in it, and you did an amazing job with that.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's a bunch of years of doing Shakespeare in the park. That'll teach.
Mhm. Yes, that would be definitely it, because the
Mhm.
inflection, especially when reading poetry, is a lot like doing the dramatic readings of Shakespeare and other things that are written to be spoken, not read completely.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's absolutely, you're right. One of the things that they, that we learn very early on as classical actors is get rid of the punctuation. I mean, and
Yeah.
oftentimes the punctuation is there to sort of split the lines into classic verse form, but the
Mhm.
thoughts are not broken up that way.
Right,
So
right.
you have to figure out, like, is that comma there just to indicate the end of a line, or is it really the end of a thought? And you have to kind of put those two things together and figure out, where am I going to take a breath for one,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yes. And
what is the thought that I'm trying to get across?
yeah, I agree. It's like, is it a pause? What really is it? And and I actually just read The Raven to my students a couple weeks ago, because we're doing a write going into writing, and The Raven was one of the passages for them to look at compared to The Cremation of Sam McGee and informational text, or informational essay. And so I read it aloud, and a lot of times I'll let my students read because I think it's really important that they read aloud. But for this one, I wanted them to hear inflections and, what goes into both of those poems. And one of my students gave me a really nice compliment, and he was like, you were meant to read this kind of stuff out loud. I was like, well, thank you. I said, I don't know that I always do a great job, but that was the third or the second time that day I had read it. And so it made me feel really good that he said that. So
Yeah, well, congratulations about that. It does,
yeah,
it comes with practice, though. I
it
mean,
does.
you
Yes.
have to do it a few times, and then all of a sudden these realizations kind of pop into your head where it's like, that's not what he meant. He meant
Yep.
this,
Yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. Every time I read Poe, I get something a little bit different in different places. And I think that's what makes the experience so cool.
well, like we've always said and everything, like on Poem Plugged, and I've said it many times myself, over the years, the differing ages, the differing happenings in your life changes you know, your idea and your reading
Yeah.
of what Poe is meaning and what it means to you.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
And
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we get older, this poem in particular hits a little bit harder because when you're younger, you don't really experience loss that profoundly. You haven't really met who you think is your life partner. There's a lot of, there's a lot of living to do to really get to a point of completely understanding it.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you have had some loss in your life at an early age, there's a different level of grief than if it's
Yes.
losing the love of your life or
Yeah,
losing a parent or
A child
losing
or
a child or something like that.
absolutely
yeah.
right. Yeah,
It
people
it
cope in
means things.
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means something different,
Hmm.
and I think that's one of the things. Even if you read it out loud to someone, they're still going to listen to it if with their own emotion.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They take away from it what is meaningful to them. That's absolutely true.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why when I was teaching before I retired and I was doing drama as my classes and after school before all that wonderful stuff, I would always try to explain to them how that, yes, plays are written down so people can learn their lines. And you can read it as you are becoming that person, you are stepping into as that character. But at the same time, when you are reading it, it's for you to decide who that character is and
Yeah.
who you are to that character. So when you present it to a live audience, you're presenting your own version, but they're reading and listening in their own mind to
Yeah.
something's totally different.
Yeah.
And that's when, especially in a medium like this, where you're just sort of reciting poetry and there's no, you kind of lack the visual component except for the talking head.
Yeah.
That whole theater of the mind kicks in where, people fill in their own minds what they believe is happening based on what they're hearing at the time. But it's absolutely true. It's interesting about theater. A friend of mine pointed out one time that, theater is obviously meant first to be heard rather than seen. That's why the people who are are audiences, right? Not spectators, right? They're the
Yes.
audience. So it's meant to be heard. And so you have to really focus on exactly how you're going to be presenting it,
Yes, absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yes. Well, Alex, thank you so much for being a part of this and supporting us. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you
Yes,
so
and
much. I appreciate it. Are we going to be seeing you in Baltimore in October?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Just got the email to fill out the form for being a vendor. And so just I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm hoping to by the end of tomorrow. And yes, definitely will be there.
That's great. Yeah, we're talking about for those who don't know, we're talking about the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival, which happens in
Yes.
Baltimore the first weekend of October every year.
Mhm.
This year, we're going to be working with the Poe House and the organizers of the Poe Festival to do a movie night that I think it's on Friday night, that
Okay.
is also tied up with the opening gala and stuff. So that should be fun for us.
Oh, great.
I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but I believe that Victoria Price, Vincent Price's daughter, is going to be on hand, and so
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, it'll
That will
be
be
fun.
amazing.
It'll be
Okay.
fun. All
Yeah,
righty.
I definitely want to be there for that because I know you guys did a movie last year, and I had already my husband and I had already made our plane arrangements for that evening when you were doing it, and we weren't able to change it. And so this year, knowing that, I will definitely be there the day before or the night
That
before.
would be
So,
great. How great.
yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it, and
Yes.
good luck with your work. I'm glad to be doing my small part in supporting it.
Absolutely.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much. And we will definitely be on to watch Doomsday, and that's going to be exciting. So
All righty. Thanks so much.
thank
All
you,
right.
Alex. Have a
Thanks,
great
Alex.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.